Well, hi folks, Daniel here, and today I have really exciting news for you. I'm going to release the Breathe for Peace album, the Breathe for Peace meditation, which I consider a really big part of my life's work. I'm very, very excited about it, and it took a long time to put it all together and make it happen, but finally we're there, and some of you that listen to this video, you're actually on it. So the time has come, and so I'll let you hear a little bit of a soundbite here. So let this play in the background for a little bit longer. Just tell you the transformative power of people breathing together, or even just listening to the sound of people breathing together is just amazing. The accents that it gives you for inner peace, for a sense of wholeness, a deep connection to life and a connection to others, especially when we breathe together. I hope that you join me someday in experimenting that actually live in person. So I actually recorded over 200 people's breath. And I started doing that in 2003. The idea came to me in 2000, and I turned it into music and a meditation on peace. So today I want to tell you a little bit how this all came about. And then in the coming weeks I go into some of the aspects of that. So I really appreciate your time here. You know, this is a bit of a story that takes some time. It's so rich and so much has happened. I'm so thankful and grateful that for all the people that contributed, for the experiences that I had along the way, the people I met, the deep conversations that I had because of doing this project. So how did it all start? Well, it really goes back to what is kind of with me from the first day of my life, which is, I have sometimes a hard time describing it, but, I guess the best word for it is hunger, an inner hunger for something bigger, a hunger for understanding, for integration, for peace, for a world that really serves everybody. And apparently that hunger was with me really from my it just came with the package, I guess. Because my dad told me that even as a little guy, I would walk into his library and basically told him, hey, what are you not telling me? There's something missing here in the story. And he couldn't really answer because I couldn't really ask the right question. I just knew there's something, and I felt a deep sense of purpose and the feeling that I have to do something bigger in life. And you know what? Not always very easy to deal with that. But fortunately, I had a family with a very rich cultural background and lots of intellectual and art stimulation, music. All that was, I was privileged in that way, and I'm very, very thankful for my dad, my mom, my brothers, and my extended family, what they all did for me in my development. And part of what we all did was play music. And I started playing piano at the age of 6. And I got quite into it, but then at the age of 13, I had an accident and I lost 3 of my fingers. And obviously that ends, that ended my time with playing piano, because I still play some 7-finger jazz, so to speak, but as a professional career as a piano player, that kind of really derailed that path. And over the years I tried to find other instruments, dabbled with all kinds of things, but eventually I got into rhythm and percussion. And it became a big passion of mine, and still is. And for those who come to my classes or have been in drum circles or on First Fridays or whatever, you know me, I'm really into it. I think rhythm is one of the most amazing things that connect people, and you will hear plenty from me about that in the future. So, even in the early years, when I was not, from today's perspective, a really prolific drummer or anything. I had a friend in Vienna ask me if I could teach rhythm to him, and very quickly it developed into a little group, and we did this weekly, and I really enjoyed that. So, if you want to say, like, the first thing was my passion was the art of music, getting into this, the artist kind of came online. But then when I started teaching, this next thing came online, which is I'm a teacher. And that became an essential part of my life and still is. I love teaching. And fortunately, in those early days, I had a lot of experimental space to, just try to find out, how do I teach this the best way? And what can I do to get people into the right mindset, into the right physical awareness, all that. And so I ended up experimenting with breath and breathing together without any knowledge at that point. And the results were just amazing. It was just so powerful, the combination between breathing and rhythm. And so you can see here, my three favorite topics in life are breath, music, and energy, living energy. Because when you start breathing consciously and when you play music and all that, that introduces you to something that you may not look at in the first place, but the more you develop that awareness, you realize, oh my God, everything is a flowing energy. Everything has to do with how much energy is flowing in my system, how much aliveness is present there. And, that's a deep topic and is full of potential and possibilities. Again, something I'll go into more later. In any case, I realized I just don't know enough about breath, and I started taking some rebirthing breathing sessions, rebirthing in the sense of you feel reborn after those sessions, conscious connected breathing. And I did all kinds of trainings. I made all kinds of friends. I became a vibration professional. I did every seminar that I could. Just breath fascinated me because it felt like, here I got something real. It's not something I just have to imagine. It's something that's really, gives me a living sense of energy and aliveness directly. And that served my hunger. Weak stuff wouldn't just serve me, right? And during one of my trainings, I had an experience that I realized I had in my childhood many times, but I just couldn't place it. I couldn't really understand what it was all about. And it's what I call the experience of oneness. And basically, that I felt like inside of me that the distance in my system was disappearing, and I felt the relativity of all my body parts to each other. And then as that increased in the deeper sense here of my whole body and my whole awareness, that included more and more in my environment. And I had an experience where all the people and the house and the forest and the birds chirping, they were all part of me. And, that's kind of a puzzling experience. What are you going to do with that, right? I mean, in the moment you come out of that, you're back in the normal world. And so that became a guiding principle for a work that I developed, I call today holistic tuning, which is the synergistic power between breath, music, and energy. And this holistic tuning proprietary method that I developed is all designed to help people to get into the sense of wholeness, into the sense of being attuned in their system, into the sense of oneness. It's just something that I just couldn't ever turn off anymore after I had that experience, because, in a world where so much struggle and stress and separation is existent, to have an experience like that felt to me like I have an opening, I have a chance here. My hunger, turned into purpose, turned into direction. And so I started working with people in larger and larger groups, and I had the privilege at some point, I worked with a group with about 400 people in a really safe, amazing environment, and I was standing in the middle of them and I heard them all breathe together in rhythm. And that sound of people breathing together never left me. That is a sound, when you hear it, when you stand in the middle of that sound, it's like life breathing, God breathing. It's just super, super, super powerful. And that eventually turned into this Breathe for Peace idea. And the idea that oneness could be a pathway to peace. And in fact, today, after many years of deep thought and deliberation, I know that oneness is a pathway to peace beyond politics, even ethics, philosophy, religion. Because in the end of the day, we are, and science confirms this more and more, we're all interconnected and we affect each other. And so if we can create a field of oneness, which to me would be built by the people who are aware of that oneness and make it personal to each other, that field becomes a new possibility, an invitation of kind for us to join together and form a planet, a humanity that's reflective of oneness. So I developed the peace meditation and then used that to record 225 people's breath. And you can imagine, you sit down, you have a headphone, you get a mic, and you just go through the meditation, close your eyes, and just have a wonderful experience. And while you're doing that, I recorded your breath, and actually also one tone. And then I set that whole thing to music. I took the sound of that breath and created music with it. And, I did a lot of traveling at that time. I've recorded people from 22 countries between the ages of 11 and 78. I didn't quite travel into 22 countries, but they are from 22 different countries. But I traveled in Europe, I traveled in the United States, I've traveled in many different places and recorded people in all kinds of interesting situations. And of course, I recorded my family. I recorded my close friends. I recorded my teachers. And I recorded the people. I was seeking out the people that I knew made a really big difference in my life, if I could get back and actually get to them anymore. And because I wanted to make oneness personal, and this is really kind of the motto of the project, make oneness personal. Because if we leave it in a spiritual context, what does it really mean? I'm one with you. And if I can meet you and we can make that exchange with each other, we actually turn on that field, that sensation of really being connected to each other. And that sensation that when others get into that field, they can feel it. So, it's my tribe. And of course, along the way, there were a bunch of people who just showed up in my life and they happened to be really interested. And so I included them in the project. So you could say it's my tribe plus some people around it as an example of the emergence of oneness in me. Because without these people, I wouldn't be the person I am. I don't believe that there's an individual island that's all made up by me. It's a connectivity. It's a field of our connections that make us the people that we are. So in the coming weeks, I'll share a few more videos with you with different distinctions around this project. And I got a long story to tell here. We're still working on some details. We have a deadline for May 1st to release that album along with a few other things. So please, watch out for the next videos. And mostly, I want to ask you to share this with the world. Underneath here, you have a form. Put in your email address, even if you get my announcement, so I know that you want to be on that list for that announcement. If you have somebody you want to subscribe, I guess you probably could do that, but better even is share it. Share it on Facebook, share it on Instagram. I put all the links down there, makes it easy for you. Please help me out, make this bigger, because this is something that, as much as this is a piece of art of me, it's really my art project in a way. But it's also a social project and a political project and a spiritual project. And it's for all the people that are on the CD and the people that they're connected to. And let's try to make a difference. How about it? Okay, talk to you soon.